Imagine you are standing on the edge of a beautiful lake. The water is a stunning, tropical blue, almost like something you would see in the Caribbean. The sun is shining, people are laughing, and teenagers are diving off a concrete wall into the crystal-clear water. It looks like the perfect summer vacation spot. But then you look a little closer. That concrete wall they are jumping off isn't a pier or a cliff. It is the top of a prison wall. And if you put on a pair of goggles and look beneath the surface, you aren't just seeing fish and rocks. You are seeing barbed wire, rusted lampposts, and the ghostly remains of prison cells. Welcome to Rummu, Estonia. This is one of the strangest and most fascinating places on Earth. It is a place where a dark, brutal history has been completely swallowed up by nature. For decades, this was a Soviet labor camp, a place of punishment and hard work. But today, it is one of the most popular beach attractions in Northern Europe. How did a nightmare prison turn into a swimmer's paradise? And is it true that the water rose so fast that machinery is still trapped at the bottom? Let's dive deep into the story of the Rummu underwater prison. To understand Rummu, we have to go back in time to the days of the Soviet Union. In the late 1930s and 1940s, the Soviet regime established a prison here known as Murru Prison. This wasn't just a place to lock people up, it was a forced labor camp. The location wasn't chosen by accident. The area was rich in limestone, a rock that is very important for construction. The Soviets needed cheap materials, and they had plenty of prisoners to do the work. For over 50 years, thousands of inmates worked in this limestone quarry. It was grueling, back-breaking work. They would dig the stone out of the earth day after day. Because they were digging a massive hole in the ground, there was a constant problem: groundwater. When you dig deep enough, water from the ground starts seeping in. To keep the quarry dry so the prisoners could work, the prison had to run massive industrial pumps 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. These pumps constantly pushed the water out into the nearby forest. As long as the pumps were running, the quarry stayed dry, and the work continued. The turning point came in 1991. That was the year Estonia regained its independence and the Soviet Union collapsed. Everything changed almost overnight. The old Soviet systems were falling apart, and the demand for labor-intensive limestone mining dropped. The new Estonian government had different priorities, and the prison era was coming to an end. Eventually, the quarry operations were shut down. And this is where the story gets really interesting. When the mining stopped, there was no reason to keep spending money on electricity to run those massive water pumps. So, someone simply turned the switch off. Without the pumps, the groundwater returned with a vengeance. Now, there are many urban legends about what happened next. Some locals say the water rose so quickly that the guards and workers didn't have time to move their equipment. They tell stories of excavators, mining drills, and trucks being swallowed up by the rising water in a matter of days. While some of this might be an exaggeration, it is partially true. The water rose much faster than anyone expected. It swallowed buildings, utility poles, barbed wire fences, and yes, even some heavy machinery that was left behind at the bottom of the pit. What was left behind was accidentally beautiful. Because the water comes from underground springs and filters through the limestone, it is incredibly clear. It has a light blue, turquoise color that looks tropical, even though Estonia is a northern country with cold winters. The quarry filled up until it became a large lake. The only things sticking out of the water were the tops of the highest buildings and the prison walls. For years, Rummu became a secret spot. It was officially closed and considered dangerous territory, but that didn't stop the locals. It became an off-the-map adventure destination. Teenagers and thrill-seekers would sneak in through holes in the fence. They dubbed it the Blue Lagoon. It was a place of extreme contrast. On one side, you had the crumbling ruins of the main prison complex on the shore, which looked like a set from a horror movie. On the other side, you had this inviting blue water. People started using the submerged buildings as diving platforms. Imagine swimming through a window of a building that is half underwater. It was dangerous, illegal, and completely irresistible. The real magic of Rummu, however, is hidden beneath the surface. It quickly became a bucket list destination for scuba divers and free divers. When you dive into Rummu Lake, you are entering a time capsule. The water is so clear that visibility is excellent, allowing divers to explore the sunken ruins in detail. Down there, divers can swim along the old prison roads. They can float over the fences that used to keep people locked in. The algae has grown over everything, turning the concrete green and giving it a ghostly look. Divers have found old mining equipment, wheelbarrows, and lampposts that still have the light bulbs in them. For a long time, Rummu was a wild, unregulated place. It was actually quite dangerous. Because the water covers concrete and metal rebar, metal rods used to reinforce concrete, jumping in blindly resulted in a lot of injuries. People would hurt themselves on hidden spikes of metal just below the surface. The owners of the land tried to keep people out, but the fences were always cut open. Eventually, the owners realized they couldn't fight the popularity of the place. Instead of trying to keep people out, they decided to make it safe and official. In recent years, Rummu Quarry has been transformed into a legitimate leisure center. Today, you don't have to sneak in. You can buy a ticket. There is a summer cafe, clean toilets, and garbage bins. They have cleared the most dangerous debris from the swimming areas. You can rent a canoe or a paddleboard and float right over the sunken buildings. They even offer guided diving tours so you can see the underwater prison safely. In the evenings, they sometimes hold concerts and festivals right next to the old prison walls. The atmosphere is totally different now. It is full of life, music, and happiness. The story of Rummu is a powerful reminder of how nature heals. In just 30 years, a gray, dusty scar on the land, a place of punishment and sadness, has been turned into something beautiful. The water washed away the dust, and the laughter of swimmers replaced the noise of mining drills. It is a strange feeling to visit Rummu. You are having fun in a place that was built for misery. But maybe that is the best ending for a prison. The walls that were built to keep people in are now used as diving boards for people jumping into freedom. If you ever find yourself in Estonia, you have to see it to believe it. Just remember to bring your swimsuit and maybe a pair of goggles, because the most interesting part of this history lesson is wading underwater. Thanks for watching. If you like this story about abandoned places, hit that like button and subscribe. Let me know in the comments, would you be brave enough to dive into the sunken prison? See you in the next video.